just like that, we're live once again. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's
Welcome.
episode of Duo Jive, Wyoming's #1 podcast for questionable advice, accidental wisdom, and deeply unnecessary storytelling.
Yes.
Gonna have to trademark that.
No doubt. Oh, I love that. I just love it. I love it.
It's interesting to say the least. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
unique,
We need
you
to
could
have it
say.
there every week. Yeah.
But how are you doing, Chris?
Super stinking fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good, actually. This has been a fun week. Quick week again, being summer and all that. But as you can hear, I don't know if anyone can tell, my audio may sound a little more improved thanks to Chris. So thanks for that one.
Yeah. My
Hopefully,
pleasure, buddy. My pleasure.
we'll see how it turns out. But exciting to say, exciting to
Yep.
hear, I
Yep.
should
So
say.
you've made improvements in your studio, and I'm in the process of getting ready to make some significant improvements to my studio.
Your studio is going to change entirely, if I'm
Yeah, and
correct.
that's the goal. That's the goal. Well, okay, so my studio used to be there, and I wanted to make it more mobile, right? So it's going to be good. It's going to be a studio that I can use both in the RV, which is where I spend most of my time, and then also back at home.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's funny because you're going to have a new studio, basically a new location because you're going to be traveling, but the studio itself will still be like the background will still be the same because you're going to be hosting it out of your
my RV.
RV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yep.
But it will be a completely different location. Can you disclose the new location? I think you already have in previous
Think I
episodes.
have. Yeah. So right now my RV is in Marseille. I call it Marseille, but the people here call it Marseilles, Illinois, which is near Chicago.
Hmm.
And so that's where it's at now. But as of this next week, matter of fact, the next time we record, it'll be in, dang it, a community inside Denver.
A community inside Denver. Okay. I mean, Denver's good enough. You don't want to disclose too close of a location because then you might get some who knows
Visitors?
who listens. Yeah, you never know.
Well, I mean, I don't mind people coming by, sitting outside drinking a glass of
It's
tea.
fine as long as it's not at midnight and they're not knocking on your door and they're staring through your window. That's not
Yeah.
ideal.
Well, I think, you never know, right?
Huh? It's always
But
always it's always good to be precautious.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, and in an absence of trying to be too cautious, I'll be in Denver and I'll stay there. This is going to be a long project, and I'm really excited about it. So that project is supposed to be a couple years long,
Hmm.
and I'm going to be 3.5 hours away from my grandbabies and my children and my wife. So it's going to be awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the fact that you're going to be as close as you are means that we can do weekend trips to you. You can come here. I mean, you're close enough, but
Yep,
it's
yep.
actually better because then we can go and hang out and do fun stuff elsewhere. Come see you and
Huh?
explore and have accommodations, which is kind of a big hindrance unless and I'm learning that with when it comes to having an RV, the advantages. A lot of people here up in Wyoming, they get RVs and campers for the sole purpose of going camping, which is great. Camping is great and all, but I'm definitely big into going to other cities, towns, exploring just different states in general. I'm not that big into just going to finding a wooded spot in the wilderness and sitting there and kind of just making a campsite.
No.
So having an RV is a major advantage even in that regard because it gives you that comfortability and that those accommodations needed elsewhere without having to spend money at a hotel and
That is
all that stuff.
correct. You'll obviously usually and much less than a hotel to take your RV
Oh,
and go to
yeah.
a campsite someplace. Just as a place to sleep, right? Because you're going to spend most of the day in town and discovering the sights.
Hmm.
But just as a place to sleep, you're still going to spend probably half, if not a little more, than you would at a hotel. Still, though, you got all of your creature comforts. It's like home away from home, and that's pretty awesome.
It is. It's very convenient.
And you have no neighbors keeping you up all night. Usually, people that have an RV or a camper and go into or a tent and go into an RV park, they are respectful. 9 times out of 10, they're respectful.
And if they're not, you just move. I mean, it may be a slight inconvenience, but you're capable. You
Yeah,
have the capability of moving, which
yeah.
is
I've
another
never had
great
to do
perk.
that
Yes, which is nice. Yes, even better.
in 15
There's
years. I've
a,
never
a
had to do
mutual
that.
respect there, which is good to hear.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Well, it's
So
exciting. We got things coming, things happening. A
Very
busy
excited.
summer, to say the
Yep.
least. Bear with me. Can you hear
Trying to
the
make
rain at
it
all?
steady.
Well, can you hear the rain at all? It's so
I
just
couldn't.
to give you some context on where I'm at, obviously I'm in Wyoming. Everyone, if you're listening in for the first time, thanks for
Right.
tuning in. But we live in Wyoming. Chris is currently traveling, and surprisingly, I think it's raining, which I mean that happens twice in the summer. So this is kind of nice. We got a little bit of a rain shower going. It's not always desert.
And I didn't hear any of it.
You can't hear the rain right now?
Nope. None of it.
Well, good to
That's
know.
one
I
of the
mean,
beauties of a condenser mic. It's typically only going to pick up that space right before it.
glad to hear it because
Yep.
I can hear it, so I figured it might be
Yep.
picking it up.
Nope.
But we'll just with that being
Dive in,
said, oh
baby.
yeah, so obviously I've got quite the list here on kind of
Yeah.
what I wanted to bring up. This
Yes.
may be
Yes.
before we get into that, I guess to finish off the recap of our, where we're at in this past week. Did you try any new ice cream? I mean, you're wrapping it up over there, so I figured there's a possibility you might have tried a new ice cream flavor.
Well, I needed to meet. So my replacement here on this job, he's staying in the same RV park that I'm in, and so he got into town today, and we touched base. And I told him let's meet over at Johnny's. If you
Mhm.
remember me talking about Johnny's, Johnny's is right outside of the RV park here,
The ice cream shop you've kind of talked about in the past, in past episodes.
and without a doubt, to die for. I mean, it's amazing. Their ice cream, I don't know what about it, but it's creamy and it's really delish. I mean, but anyway, that aside, I walked up to the window today and I asked her, okay, I did as you know, the caramel apple pie last week. Do you have anything else that's, to die for? And she goes, of course. I'm gonna make you a blueberry pie sundae.
Oh my, now you're speaking my language.
So she brought it to the window, dude. I kid you not. This cup, Sunday cup, was piled high with ice cream and then whipped topping and blueberries galore and the bottom half of a cherry pie slice crust in the ice cream. It was
My goodness.
and it was so delicious.
So it wasn't too overwhelming with blueberry.
No. Oh
It
no.
was it was like just the right amount.
Well, but I'm a blueberry freak, right? So
Mhm.
I just loved every single bite. And I told the guy that I took over there, it's like, man, I can't believe how good this ice cream is. But it
So
was,
you got him on the train.
yeah, absolutely delish. Told him he has to be there once a week just to keep the train
Yep. Yep. You
going.
gave him the inside scoop right away, which is really nice.
Yeah, I introduced him to it, and of course, I didn't let him try it.
You didn't let him try it. Well, I
Not my,
mean,
not
yeah,
mine.
no, 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 I wouldn't think so.
He didn't know what to get, so he got a little plain Jane vanilla cone, which was good, by the way, of course, because their ice cream's delicious. But so Johnny's put out this blueberry pie slice, an entire slice of blueberry pie in ice cream, and it was amazing. And it had
I
cherries
can
on
only
top.
I don't want to go that route, but I can only imagine the calories. They must have been outrageous. I don't even think about that. But on a cheat day, you don't. So,
Right, right. Well, today had to be the cheat day because I wanted to be able to talk about it tonight. Because weekly I've been stopping by there
hmm
and checking out their assortment of flavors. And now when I look at myself in the camera, I see my face just got bigger today.
well, it's just on your end. You look good on this end.
Like I felt like I put in 20 pounds in one day.
Hey, if you do it once a week, you're not going to gain any weight. It's only when you do it too much.
If
Learn
you're,
that moderation.
I think that's only if I'm establishing some kind of a deficit or
Yeah, exactly. A
yeah,
deficit is
throughout
the
the rest
spot
of the
on
week.
word. Mm-hmm. Which you are, right?
Trying to.
Right, Chris? Okay, good. Another strong week, I meal prepped and last week I meal prepped and I think I spoke on it last week on what I made. But this week I meal prepped another burrito recipe and it was a creamy Tuscan chicken bacon burrito. And the macros on it are about 50 grams of protein. I think 53 grams of protein. I need to find out. Please don't
Well, you
count
posted it.
like
You posted it.
yes, I posted a picture. I didn't post a video just because
Well,
yeah, it was my first time making it. What?
didn't you talk about the macros though on it?
No, I didn't talk about any macros, just posted a picture of the just like all of the burrito. It was a story, so it was just a quick pic of my meal prep for the week and The burritos sit at just about 400 calories and are 50 grams of protein, somewhere in that range. Don't quote me on it on the exact. I need to find out the macros, but they're decent, and that's what I got going on this week. So I'm sitting at a consistent deficit because I'm only 10 days away from going on vacay, which means I got to get in peak summer bod ready so that way I can eat
Yeah.
cheat day for a week straight on vacay. Because you don't, I mean, vacay, the whole vacation is cheat day, right? So
Well,
I
of
got to plan
course. Yeah,
accordingly.
that's for day, cheat day, like cheat 5
Cheat
days.
week. Yeah. Cheat
Right.
exactly. Yep, cheat week.
Yeah. Well, so you got beach bod ready though, like 5 months ago, 6 months ago.
Well, that's quite the compliment, but I completely disagree. Once I see muscle, then I can say that. And the goal is to get there before we head to anyone listening. Previous episodes I've spoken on this, but I have a trip coming up going to Universal's Epic Universe, the brand new theme park down in Orlando, Florida. And I've been pretty stoked about it. Another thing to know about me is I am an avid theme park. I'd like
Junkie.
to say, yeah, junkie, just all about them, definitely big into
The
them.
shit
And I want to
out of.
specify theme parks. I've definitely I could improve my amusement park attendance overall, just being able to go to like more Six Flags, Dollywood, Silver Dollar City, stuff like that. But as far as theme parks go, Disney World, Universal, all that good stuff. That's my niche, and I've got a trip
That your
coming up
uncle
to go.
well, now that your uncle and aunt have Airbnbs in Silver Dollar
That's a good
City or
point.
Brandon, dude, you don't have an excuse now not to add that to your list.
And every time I think of that, I'm like, I'm gonna have to take advantage of it, and then I forget. And you bring it up, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So I'm gonna have to remember this time.
They've made it available. They're like, dude, go use it.
Man, might have to give him a call, but that's cool because that's definitely one on the list for sure. It's is it Silver Dollar City there?
Yep. Yep.
Yes, it's Silver Dollar City. Yep.
Yep.
So that's a big one. That's actually a pretty popular one. Anyone out there, if you have been to Silver Dollar City, throw in a comment or hit us up and let me know what you guys think about Silver Dollar City and if I should go, if we should do a video on it and all that good stuff. But yeah,
Well, my brother
exciting stuff to
Scott
come.
and his wife Andrea bought this absolutely gorgeous, what'd you call it? Like a timeshare. What used to be a timeshare. They canceled those and turned it into an Airbnb, remodeled it first and turned it and man, I'm telling you what, right on the lake. They got two of them now. Right on the lake.
Yeah.
One's a big cabin, 3 bedroom, and the other one's a small apartment with 1 bedroom and then extra beds. Dude, they're right on the water.
Wow.
And you've got that both of those available to you right now.
Oh man, oh man.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And by the way, I've enjoyed the crap out of that. And
What's
then
that?
when you share stuff, both your personal stuff and DuoJive stuff on TikTok, people are really, really getting fired up and motivated and commenting on that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
exciting as get out. I love when people comment on it.
Yes. Yeah, it's that's the whole point. I mean, being able to start up conversation and talk to them, let them get to know us and kind of just discover who we are and hopefully grow a community out of it. If
Yeah.
anything, start up chats that, may not have happened if we didn't post it. Oh,
Well, and there's people that have responded, commented, and what have you, and it wouldn't be considered in most eyes favorable to us or to me even, right?
mm,
It would be remarks about on a personal level and my own abilities and stuff like that. Some people could get upset about that. I don't. I
yeah.
enjoy that kind of conversation, even if people want to cut me down or something like that. I've enjoyed the crap out of it. It's pretty awesome. I wish people would continue to
Well, of course they will, if not more, as time goes on. We're growing in subscribers on TikTok. Can't say that for the rest of everything, but we're starting to get
in time.
some listeners here and there, which
In time.
if you guys are listening, shout out to you guys. Thanks for listening. We
Yes.
greatly appreciate it. You guys are one of the first few to listen in on the podcast, which is it's exciting and seeing where this goes will be exciting and hopefully we can grow something out of it.
Yep. Yep.
But with that,
What
yep,
new food did you try?
new food not actually, you know what? Once again, I am lacking in a new ice cream flavor. Wait, bear with me here.
That's right. It
I'm
was you
trying to
actually talked
remember.
about the food. you didn't talk about ice creams yet. And didn't you do a gold
Yes.
top on the ice creams?
What's that?
Didn't you do a gold top? Though that was last week. You did a gold
That was
top.
last week. Yeah, I
Sounded
talked
like
about that in last week's
yep,
episode.
yep.
This past this past weekend, I didn't try any new ice cream. Oh wait, I take that back. Nothing store bought, and I'm slacking because I told myself I was gonna try one new flavor a week. Which, granted, I did try a new ice cream flavor, but it was from Freddy's. It was a Freddy's concrete Oreo brown Oreo blast or something like that. And if anyone's ever out there, if you've ever had Freddy's, their concretes are great, so you can't
Yes,
go
they
wrong with it
are.
in the first place. And then adding
Yes,
Oreo
they
to
are.
it, it was
Yes, they
it was
are.
good stuff,
Yes,
top notch.
yes, they are. Yep. Cool. All right. Well, at least you did
But
try something. You did have a
yes,
cheat
I
day, and
did.
it was in Laramie, wasn't it?
Yes, we went to Laramie and saw, which that brings me to the next point, which is going to be what your thoughts are, and everyone out there listening, just a heads up, I'm going to just from this
Make
point,
sure.
probably for the next 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, just be wary if you're going to
Spoilers.
skip spoiler alerts for the Fantastic Four First Steps movie.
Fantastic Four.
So there you go.
Yep. Yep.
But that brings me to that point to where I went and saw Fantastic Four in theaters there, which was fantastic. We went and saw it at a Dolby Atmos theater, so we had the full cinematic experience with the bigger theater, which is really nice coming from a smaller town in Wyoming, being able to take advantage of something like that. A little bit of a drive, but going and doing that was a blast, and I have some thoughts on the movie.
Yeah. Well, that makes two of us. And you know what I did? You
What's
want to know what I
that?
did? So I watched it before you did. I think
Yes, you
you knew
did.
that. You knew that. You knew that because it came out on Thursday. We got rained out, and of course, I went, okay. I mean, there's my sign, right? So I went to the theater and I watched this movie, and I got the early show, which was even better, right? Well, then Sunday or Saturday, actually, I I was talking to a young guy that's in the RV park here, and I actually hired him for a minute to do some things for me, and I asked him if he went to church anywhere, and of course, it became the opportunity to for us to talk about him going with me to service on Sunday morning at the church up the street that I've been going to, that I really enjoy. And after the service was over with, it's like, well, let's go get something to eat. So we went and got something to eat, and then after that, I was like, well, you haven't seen Fantastic Four yet. Let's go do that too.
There you go.
So we
That's a full
did.
day.
So I actually saw Fantastic Four twice.
Even better. Well, then I guess you should be the one to start this off as
Negative.
far as. Whoa, yes, sir. Yep. Here, I actually have a few questions for you regarding the movie.
Okay,
And I can answer my. I can ask the question and then we can answer them together. How about that?
that'll work just fine. That'll work. That'll work really
Sounds
well.
good.
Yeah. You know what I went to do one day this week? I went to find Silver Surfer. We didn't own it. Fantastic,
Silver Surfer.
Fantastic Four, Rise of the
The
Silver
original.
Surfer.
Yes, the original Fantastic Four.
It wasn't in our library.
So did you add it?
Of course.
Now that is an older movie. I mean, that's
Yes,
separate
it is.
from this one.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's actually a different storyline too.
It is a different Earth, actually. I forget exactly what Earth that takes place in. I want to say it's something like along the lines of like 11327 something. I don't know. Don't quote me on that either.
Excuse me. What? What did you just say?
The Earth that it takes place on for the original Fantastic Four.
The Earth has a number.
Yeah, they all do. So this Earth with the Fantastic Four that we just saw was 838.
Where are these numbers coming from?
So this is a multiverse. So a little bit of
I
like
see.
so
Okay,
our
I had no idea.
yeah. So our normal common our MCU Earth, the one that has the Avengers, the Guardians, where Endgame took place with all of the heroes and everything like that, was strictly on Earth 616. And
Had no
so
clue. No clue
yeah,
what.
so on this Earth, that's where everything has takes place. So this is a completely separate Earth. That's why it's retro futuristic. It's like the 60s, and yet there's still going to be a part of the future Avengers Secret Wars, the next movie to come out, because of the fact that they're at some point going to be transported to our Earth. The question is how, when, who, Maybe Doctor Doom will get involved. That is going to be a question here shortly. But I got some
Yes.
questions for you.
All right, bring it up. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go into it.
All right. So, Fantastic Four spoiler breakdown. Was it fantastic or was it a flop? This
In my
is
opinion or your opinion?
both.
Okay. All right. Yes, it was fantastic.
It was. I completely agree. It was a. It definitely earned the title Fantastic Four, to say the least.
Yes.
With the first impressions, what hit you right in the face as those credits rolled?
I,
The
right.
first take you had
With the credits?
when the credits rolled.
Now, are you talking about the outro or out credits
Yeah,
or
the
the
credits.
because they've had pre-credits.
Okay, yeah, well, I should say the end
Okay.
credits.
Yeah, the end credits?
Worth
I
watching.
I did not I don't know. What hit you in the face?
To make it plain and simple, and we can do this in like one word or two word or short sentence breakdowns because I have a few questions here. Just to make it plain and simple, for me, as far as what hit me right in the face as those credits rolled when Fantastic Four finally reached an end was MCU is back, to say the least. This movie
Really?
brought the MCU back. First Thunderbolts, fantastic, great. It was one of my top as well, but then the Fantastic Four just sealed the deal, and now I'm excited again for the future of the MCU and where it's going to go with Avengers Secret Wars and all that good stuff.
Well, the first thing I guess that has to be established is you lost faith in the MC.
Yeah, they were kind of they were slacking there of both in shows. They were putting out too much content, and I think they were putting out not as not as important content because of the fact that they were just kind of going they were looking more for bulk rather than quality and putting out as much as they can rather than really sitting down and taking the time like they did with Fantastic Four and like they did with Thunderbolts. They definitely brought it back with this one, I feel.
Fascinating. Okay. Well, I can't say that the MCU really lost anything for me.
So you've always been a fan.
Well, yeah. I mean, ever
I
since I
guess I
was a
shouldn't
kid,
I mean, I didn't stop seeing the movies. They just weren't as impactful up until when Avengers Endgame ended.
they were not as impactful as it was when Avengers.
Prior to Avengers
Okay, I
Endgame,
got you. I
yes.
got you. So, what about Endgame? What about the actual movie?
Well, that's peak MCU.
That
So
was pinnacle.
Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, which came out right before. I mean, that one was definitely that was top cinema, Avengers Endgame, all of those movies that were kind of right before that, and then it kind of dwindled off and it's been kind of making its way down until these past few Marvel movies now that they're really taking the time putting uh instead of putting like making it to where they're coming out quick with the content, they're actually sitting down and taking the time to make it a quality piece of movie, you could say.
Do you think so?
Yes, I do. I certainly do. All right,
Okay.
next question. Was it
What was between Endgame and the movie you mentioned that was redeeming?
Spider-Man?
No, between Endgame and what was Spider-Man
Well,
after
you had a
Endgame?
whole bunch. No, that was after. That was before. You had a whole bunch. I mean, you had the Marvels movie. You had a bunch of shows that came out. I mean, there were some movies in there that were pretty hype. Like I feel like Moon Knight was a hype movie. WandaVision was a hype movie. Or I'm sorry, shows came out
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they were definitely top tier considering. But then they kind of fell off and I need to go back and verify. I know Marvels was one of them and then just kind of like that kind of vibe to where they didn't really.
Well, they went into a slump where they were more spending more time in TV than.
Yes, that's very true. And they were putting out too much content rather than taking the time to really focus on high-end pieces like like they did with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. They
Thunderbolts.
delayed those movies. What's that?
Okay, that was the movie I was trying to think of. Thunderbolts was the movie that came out where they
Yes, right prior to
redeemed
Fantastic
themselves.
Four.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Was it to go back to Fantastic Four First Steps, was it better or worse than expected?
Fantastic
These can be
Four
short and
First Steps
yes,
was
that's the title of this movie.
the one we just watched. I watched twice.
Yes.
Was it better than expected? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
completely agree.
Because
It
I
was better
wasn't
than
expecting
expected.
it to be any good at all.
See, that's where they did well with me, even because I have watched an immense amount of content, trailers, reviews, everything you could do under the sun before this movie came
Before
out.
seeing
I
it. Yep.
watched.
Yep.
It really hyped it up, and it's difficult to go into a movie when there's too much hype or you're too excited for it, because then sometimes that can spoil it, because then you expect too much greatness from a movie, and then it kind of dwindles its ability to the shock and awe and just the overall movie itself. I feel like it still didn't lack, considering
But
watching
the
all that
story the
content.
story was fantastic. And it wasn't
Yes, the story was great.
it was not fragmented. It was, the story started and the story continued and it ended. And that's what the movie became about, was that story, right?
Yes,
It wasn't a bunch of different things that were unrelated, maybe, and slightly. Yeah, I was very, very happy with that continuity that you look for, when it comes to stories.
I agree. All right, next up, the team dynamic. Did they feel like a team or four people stuck in the same green screen warehouse?
Whoa. Whoa. What? Okay. First, I'm gonna have to say not the second part of that question. No.
So it felt like a team.
Yes. Well, not so it's that is yes, from
The
the very
chemistry
beginning.
between the
From
characters,
from the very beginning.
definitely. I mean, there were so many top leading actors in that movie. You can't really pick a person that stood out. They kind of all gave their performance that provided, just this leading family group. Just Oh, I mean, even the villains and the side characters, I mean, all of it was just handled good, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And the way they brought the characters in, all so, what's the origin, what's the context of the what is the
The
word?
origin story,
No, what's the premise, if you
context.
will? What's the premise? And context would work, I guess, here too. What's the premise of a superhero movie, right? There's got to be a villain,
Yes.
got to be heroes, right? And the way that was all married, you don't see people do what was done in this movie. The Avengers were were addressed by the villain. Are you the heroes of this country or this planet or whatever, you know?
So the Fantastic Four with the Silver Surfer,
Yeah,
yes,
what
right
did I
off the
say?
bat,
Yeah,
the
yes,
Avengers.
yes, yes.
That's
My
the
bad.
next movie.
Yeah, yeah, right. But no, it's the Fantastic Four. That's the way they were brought into being the superheroes. I just, I don't know. I liked it. It was unique. It was good, and they did a
Yeah, I
did a good job.
completely agree. That I
Yeah.
do I do agree that I mean, fantastic in that regard. As far as the origin story, do you think, like, how do you think it compared? It's such a drastically different movie, but how do you think it compared to the past version, you could say? Like, being that this had, there was a previous Fantastic Four movie that happened, what, 10, 12 years ago, something like that. Do you feel as though having that as kind of background knowledge going into this movie, do you think they went too wild with it, with the retro concept, changing the thing, overall, like, just the design? Johnny Storm was significantly different from previous iterations. Do you think it went too far, or was it good?
I personally, on a personal level, I think they went. I mean, I think they could have gone further, but they definitely didn't
Okay.
go too far. Absolutely not. What about you?
Still room to breathe. Not to sound like a copycat, but I completely agree with you there. I feel like the take on Johnny and the Thing and these different versions were much needed. You don't want it to be identical. You don't want it to be the same, especially whenever you're changing the story to that degree. But overall, fantastic, fantastic design. I think they did a good job with the Thing. Just the overall design of him. Johnny Storm was
Giving him a
definitely,
beard,
yeah, giving him was a beard was wild to see the Thing with a beard,
cool
and
as
then
heck.
Johnny Storm has always been shown to be, like this hot rod, like guy
Independent.
that just, well, yeah, he just goes there to cause chaos, and it's been so confusing to me because it's like, well, why would they send a guy like that to space in the previous movies? But in this movie, they gave Johnny Storm, even though he may come off a little more, ladies' man, very outgoing and stuff like that in that regard, but he still had something to give to the team. both in his abilities with his
Absolutely.
with his being the Human Torch, and then also his knowledge. Like he definitely was a part of the team in both aspects,
Yes, absolutely.
which I thought was cool.
Yep, that was impressive and also very encouraging, I guess, to have that the kind
Yes,
of character play Storm.
it was refreshing.
There you go. That's it. Yes, sir.
All right,
Okay.
the villain, Galactus, the big threat, or was he just a big budget cosplay? Do you think they
Cosplay
overdid
to
it?
me, to me, it's cosplay, baby. It was, but well, because and here's why. His powers were OP at the very
Yes,
beginning of his entrance into the story, and then
yes.
under power at the end of the story.
So you feel as though they kind of nerfed him in a way at the
Yes,
end of the movie. Do
yes,
you do you know that one of his abilities are that he can shrink and grow at
yeah,
will?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
So
did
his size, it makes sense as to why he seems so much bigger on his ship rather than when he landed on Earth. I mean, he was still huge on Earth, but he definitely felt as if he was. I mean, it doesn't help that they were in a confined space, being on the ship, a very large chair, everything surrounding was huge, and then coming to Earth where it was very open and spacious, and then comparing him there kind of made it seem as though he wasn't as big, but definitely still, I mean, Galactus size. I mean, that's the
yep,
perfect word for it.
yep,
I think the execution on it, it was handled good. It was handled well, and
really.
overall, yeah, I feel like they handled it well because Galactus is an eternal being, which in the MCU he's one of the few that outlast. In the comics, to go back to the comics, the last two people to outlive the universe are Galactus and Franklin Richards, which is the baby in this movie.
Really?
And that's why Galactus wanted this baby so bad because he wanted him to replace him, in which in the comics he never does until the end of the universe. So when the end of the universe came, Galactus he no longer was able to devour planets because there was no planets left to devour, which means he actually started to die and wither. And then when Galactus died, that left one person, Franklin Richards, because he is a being with cosmic immense abilities, and they only scratch the surface in this movie, I feel. So I liked how they kept to that because previous movies have always been so scared to, stretch the boundaries. They've always kept it kind of grounded as far as like on Earth, very easy, very makes sense, even if you don't do the comics. This one went heavy in the comics with the Galactus Franklin Richards relationship.
And that's one of the things
So,
I liked about it.
yeah,
That was
do you
definitely
think
one
the
of the
final
strong.
confrontation was lacking?
Well, it wasn't lacking in action, but it and it's got to be so difficult to try to tell that story in such a way to where it makes sense, right? You
Mhm.
got this guy who has immeasurable power, and right now he's on a city street falling into a black hole.
Yeah, yeah. That just goes to show how powerful the Fantastic Four are. They can fight Eternals, equivalent
Yeah,
Eternals.
I mean, I liked the story. I liked how it ended. I liked how it worked for Galactus, but it still didn't seem right. It didn't plug. All the parts didn't just come together and plug in for me.
So they nerfed him. Yeah.
In my opinion, yes.
All
But
right.
that's just me. Yeah,
Very interesting.
very much
Do
so.
you think, as far as MCU ties, did this feel like its own? Oh, hang on.
Its own story.
Yeah. Do you feel like it felt like its own story, or do you think they are going too heavy in the multiverse plugin? I feel like they did it just right.
You do?
Yeah, well, I mean, they built an entire world for this movie. So they definitely went heavy into its own story, but they still kept to the multiverse plugin tie-in with the tease and Thunderbolts, showing that the Fantastic Four arrive on their Earth
Fantastic Four arrive on the Earth.
with Thunderbolts.
So you noticed the end credit where it said that they were coming back in the next Avengers.
Avengers Sequel Wars.
And in that Avengers, is it going to be with Thunderbolts or with the original Avengers or any of the?
All of them. So Secret Wars will have more people, more famous people, and more cast than Avengers Endgame had.
And there were too
To
many
put
in
into
the
perspective,
and there were too
there was
many in
way too
Endgame.
many.
There were too many. So
So
what?
think about that.
No, that's going to
Yeah.
kind of. Okay, I'm going to walk into that movie expecting it to be total crap.
Well, I mean, did you not like Avengers Endgame?
No, I didn't. I didn't. Those scenes were way too
Whoa, now
chaotic.
that's a hot take.
I'm
That is a hot
sorry.
take. Well, that movie was a culmination of 12 to 15 years of movies.
Yes,
That's not a movie to go into and be like, "What's Avengers?" You don't walk into Endgame. You go and you see every single movie and then end it with
prior.
Avengers
Yes,
Infinity War and then follow
yes.
up with Avengers
The
Endgame.
story is consistent there.
Which this movie will be the came this movie will be the same consistency with that because it will have Avengers Secret Wars, which will be kind of like an introduction to what Doomsday. So the big bad in this movie, or in these movies, I should say, is going to be Doomsday. And with Doomsday's arrival, they're going to introduce him in Avengers Secret Wars and then follow up in Avengers Doomsday, and that's going to be the really big one. Very interesting to see where they go with it. If they follow the
Yeah,
comics,
yes. But with
because now you're getting multiversal.
I like the okay, this is just me, right? I like the idea of introducing the audience to multiverse storylines, but not meshed together. Does it make any sense? Because then it just muddies it. To me, that's just to me. It makes it way. It turns it into a end game.
Well, they're following the comics. That's what the comics do to a T.
I know. I know. I know.
You
Yep.
just feel as though you like the story itself too much and it kind of takes away from those characters
It,
and their story by jumbling them up with the rest of them.
yes, and it does do that absolutely. But and I didn't, I didn't read Endgame in the comics. You know why?
Actually, same here.
Well, the reason why I wouldn't have done it was because it was too much.
Too much to handle.
But you got to remember though, I was raised in a generation where you had your Superman comic, your Flash comic, and every once in a while they were together, right? But usually they had their stories, they had their stuff going on, and they had their individual comics, and I think that was better for comic sales. Quite frankly,
Mm.
much better for comic sales. I just really enjoyed it. I did. And it's one of the reasons why I had so many if I would have kept my collection when I was a kid, oh my stars.
The value. Yeah, the value would have
And then not
been
to mention the fact that you
outrageous.
guys, you, Levi and Elizabeth probably would have enjoyed the crap out of it as well, you know?
Yeah, classic comics. Yeah, they're
Yep.
cool. I mean, as with everything, you always want more. So, the comics came out and it was amazing. And then they created the crossovers, like you said, between Superman and Batman and the Flash, and same
Uh-huh.
thing goes for
Mm-hmm.
Marvel. But then they had to take it one step further because now we're a next generation over that has all of that at their disposal, but then they want more. They want what's new at that point, so they just have to keep it going.
Well,
But I
see,
understand where you're coming from.
I'm a big fan, especially as a producer, of not giving the audience everything they want or feel like they need.
You feel as though Marvel does.
They did in Endgame. They tried.
Really?
They tried. In my opinion, they tried too hard. And I think
I
to bring the Fantastic Four together with some of the Avengers might start to get that way.
Well, now you have me intrigued all the more so. I now not only want to see the movie, but I want to know what you think when it finally comes out. If you still have that opinion when you see it, or if it changes,
Well,
possibly.
that story's going to be a heck of a good story
It will be. It's going to be
because
heavy, and it's going to be a two-parter.
okay, and that's good. That's good. It's easier to do this.
Yes,
It's easier to tell the story in two
you
movies.
can
But
introduce a cast that size.
my God, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I like things simple, you know.
Hmm.
And I know, obviously, the studios aren't trying to appease me. They're reaching out to you guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, they certain my generation is definitely the ones that are. And that's what I'm saying. So with a generation like mine and the next generation past mine, they want more and they want something new on top of what they've been given,
Uh,
what you had back in the day. And so
yeah,
now it's how do you stack on top of that? How do you expand? How do
You go
you
deeper in the
move
stories.
further than that? Yep, you go deeper. Yes, yep. But you can't have it repetitive. So you have to introduce something entirely new. That shock and awe. But bringing it back to Fantastic Four First Steps, one other question I had for you. Do you think was there any, I guess the best way to put it, moments that you thought were funny, cringy moments, or I guess specifically the CGI? Were there any moments that you questioned as far as the CGI went?
So anytime, you know what? It's funny that you say that because I looked at the way Sue landed when she was traveling and thought to myself, why did they do it that way? It could have been so much more natural, and it wasn't. So,
What do you mean when she landed?
well, like if Sue was gonna float, and you know what? I'm so sorry. You know what I just did? I just mixed two movies together. It wasn't in Fantastic Four First Steps. It was Fantastic Four, the first Fantastic Four 12, 13, 15, 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. This is specifically Fantastic Four First Steps
So,
with the new cast.
first, the cast was just freaking awesome. The cast was,
As far as the CGI, do you feel as though there were any more, like, for me to kind of give my thought on it, the CGI in that movie was pretty good, but there were some moments and I was willing to look past it because of how good the story was and everything like that. But with the baby Franklin, especially whenever he was being held by the thing, the CGI on the CGI, I could tell, and it was like, ooh, yep,
yes,
there's some CGI right there. I could
yes,
see it, I could tell, but I was willing, they were quick with the clips and I
yes.
was willing to look past it. But I definitely, if I were to give that movie a rating, it would be a 9 out of 10, and it would be specifically because of that.
No, that's a really good observation. But what was amazing to me, taking that a step further, when the baby was delivered, it didn't look like a new baby. It looked like it was
Oh, no, 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 no.
two
You
months
can't.
old,
I
three
mean, it's
months old.
impossible.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible. You can't. You can't. I don't think it's. I don't think it's legally possible to hire a baby the moment it's born. And that babies, when they're born, they only look like newborns for like the first week,
but
and then
but you're
after
doing
that, they're.
but it was CGI. So why didn't
That's
they
the
just do
problem.
a
See, no, no,
newborn?
no. That was a real baby. That's why it looked 2 months old.
I would say no.
I think so. We're gonna have to do our research on that, but I think it was a real baby. There were some moments that were CGI because you can't have that much.
Action.
Babies are very limited to how much they, yeah,
Absolutely.
screen time.
Yep.
But that's kind of where I was just wrapping it up as far as my questions to you on the new Fantastic Four movie. Definitely a top tier movie nonetheless. Regarding our thoughts and opinions on it, I do think if I were to give it 9 out of 10, it would be, or if I were to give it a rating, it would be 9 out of 10, and top tier, one of my favorite.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought each character was outstanding. Their um their ability to choose individuals based on their acting skills. And I've never been the guy who played Reed Richards. Who was that?
Pedro Pascal,
Yes, I've never been a fan of his. Never have. I liked him in this
and
movie.
you liked
Huh?
him in this movie. He did a good job.
Yeah, I didn't like him in anything else. I did like him, and the only other place I've enjoyed watching him act was in the movie with Nick Cage. They just
Yes,
did.
that was a great movie.
That was
I forget the name of
hilarious.
it.
Yeah, in
That was
parts.
a
I mean,
funny movie.
to watch the whole movie was a drag, but that movie with that he did with Nick Cage was funny, and it was great acting chops for Pascal. Um, I didn't enjoy. I mean, but I really enjoyed him in Fantastic Four, and his character was outstanding.
I agree. He definitely knocked it out of the park with his representation on Mr.
Yeah,
Fantastic Reed Richards.
yeah. So, what did
Yep,
you
I'm
think about
excited to
the?
see the future.
So, what did you think about the retro look of this whole movie?
I thought it was fantastic, and no pun intended, but the retro futuristic, like the 60s, but yeah, very Jetsons era.
Very comic
It worked
book.
well with that
Yes.
niche. Yes,
Yep.
very comic booky, and the I feel as though they could get enough I wouldn't doubt it if Disney starts doing stuff with that era and that time frame, kind of introducing it in like Tomorrowland at Disney, or possibly creating its own theme park, or doing whatever spin-offs just with that land alone, because of like them doing the whole Subterranea
Character.
with Mole
Yep.
Man. And
Yep.
yes,
Yep. 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 I totally agree. So 1 out of 10. 1 to 10.
it'd be 9 out of 10.
Okay. Very good. I
And
agree.
you?
9 out of 10, baby. I would do
nine
it.
out of 10 There you are.
Absolutely.
Anyone
Yep.
out there, if you're listening in, hang on real quick. 9 out of 10. And if anyone, if you guys have an opinion of your own, let us know what you guys think. Let us know, give us your rating and your thoughts on it.
What?
Throw it down in a comment in the description, or just give us a DM, whatever you want to do there, and let us know, because we're curious on just how popular this movie was.
All right. I like it. I'm really looking forward to those comments, by the way. And
Yes,
we're
yeah, I'm
almost out of
excited as
time,
well.
baby. We're almost out of time. Do
We
you
are,
realize that?
and
We talked a long
I
time.
planned on this. We did, and I planned on this being kind of Fantastic Four based, just because that movie was definitely my hype movie of the year, and I wanted to know your thoughts on some questions. And yeah, it's exciting.
Is anything coming out this week?
I have no idea. I'm going to be honest with you. My mind was set on Fantastic Four, and now I'm kind of just in limbo until Avengers is announced.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I
So
don't
you're going
know
to have
either.
to let me know.
I don't know.
Yeah, if anything comes out, but we'll bring that back. We'll recap next week on if we saw any movies or if anything did come out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the American Psychological Association says Gen Z adults and younger millennials are completely overwhelmed by stress. That would be 18 to 30-year-olds in the United States are burdened by financial and stressors, if you will. What do you think
Quite the
about that?
heavy transition there. And I'm just gonna throw. I like it. I like the way you go. I like the way you move. But to go from Fantastic Four to that, yeah, it's heavy.
Well, okay, you know, 18 to 30-year-olds are considered by the American Psychological Association to be stressful right now. Right now, there's an epidemic of it. That 18 to 30-year-olds are overly stressed compared to previous generations. Your thoughts on that, since you are a Gen Z?
18 to 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, my thoughts would be that's very true. That's very accurate as far as my mindset on it. I believe it to be because of the fact that now, as a young generation, especially ones that strive for more and strive for wanting more, just I mean anyone, that's why you stay motivated, is because your goal is to attain more or grow into whatever you're doing.
Right
And
on.
the downside to social media is that you're having to bring it back to the previous episode and thoughts on that, you're having to compete with the rest of the world, which means you're now seeing other people live their lives. Some people maybe younger than you, older than you, your age, and they may be on a different path in life, and it seems as though they're ahead. And now you're all of a sudden, you're like, oh my gosh, I should be there, and I'm not. I'm 20 years old and I don't own a home yet. That's not a big deal. 20-year-olds should not own a home. But, for the vast majority, you're still so young at that point. You have so much
You
life
did.
ahead of you that it shouldn't be. What?
Said you did.
It doesn't matter. I mean, so what I had at 20, other people, there's things that I wanted whenever I was 20 that other people had. It's always what do I want, which is different from other people, and we're all on different separate paths. But seeing it and witnessing it on social media and comparing it to ourselves can bring some serious stress.
There you go.
And another thing
Yeah.
about it is not having a relationship with God on top of it. Those two things kind of stacking on top of each other, looking at the world and not looking at God, and then looking at yourself and going, where am I? And then all of a sudden it just feels like you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Like I should be here and I'm not, or I should be there and I'm not. It can lead you down some dark paths. And having, first of all, getting the relationship with God, that will help start putting you on the right path in the first place. He can help guide you, enlighten you, and even show you the way if you listen, just somewhere that you may want to go. And you never know unless you try, but that'd be a good starting point, and then from there, understanding your life is your own. Your life is what you make it. So instead of sitting there watching other people, get up and do what you want to do
Make your own life.
because yeah, make your own life because and do what you want to do because no one's stopping you except for yourself. Doesn't matter your situation.
Dude, that's freaking brilliant. Thank you. And I'm
That's my
thinking
thoughts
that
on it.
I'm thinking that the audience for this podcast, especially predominantly, is going to be people between the age of 18 and 35, if you will. Okay, because that's your audience for sure, right? And I just and this really stuck out to me today when I read that. It was like, oh my god, that's Noah's audience, right? And in that, even that article even went into how that's a drastic difference, comparatively speaking, to my generation, right? Because my generation took that period of time that you guys are in, the 18 to 30, 35 year olds. We took that phase differently than the American Psychological Association is saying your generation currently is. And you nailed it, bro, with a relationship with God. So
That's the starting point, yes.
Philippians 4, chapter 4, verses 6 through 7 go like this, and it's very fast. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. It says it so well. It's a scripture that ties up this thing that I found about today's young people, right? If you've got a relationship with God, just like Noah said, your life can be, and I'm not trying to somehow get you to be super stinking fantastic like I am, but I am most certainly wanting to inspire as many people as possible, especially your audience, Noah, to realize that there is amazing, tremendous benefit in having a relationship with God and casting all your cares upon Him. There's a key word here. The last thing, there's a key word in that scripture, and it's the word thanksgiving. And if you understand that word and how it works in your relationship with God and start to offer it up often, you'll find out really quick what it is to be super stinking fantastic. And that's all I got to say, bro.
Amen. Well, you got a good point there. I feel like the fact that you're seeing it means that it's branching off with this younger generation and where we're headed. If we keep going in the path that we're going, it's definitely not ideal because we're so focused in everyone else's life. We're not focused on our own, which means no one's going to get anywhere.
Exactly.
So we got to first of all assess our situation and go, okay, well, let's bring it back home. Let's get our relationship with God straightened out, and then from there we can kind of grow off of that. I like,
Yes.
hopefully we can help people with that. So if you're
Amen.
out there listening and
Amen.
you want to talk more about it, hit us up along with everything else. And that's
And
it for me.
if you input that information into the comments, whether it's I don't understand it, I don't get it, whatever, right? We want to talk about it.
That's it. A quick recap on this episode, definitely Fantastic Four hype. I'm excited to see what your next ice cream flavor is as you wrap up your week there. And
I don't have any more with Johnny's. I bounced Friday.
so this was the last one.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
Okay,
was.
well,
So
in that case,
I'll
then I'm
find one in
excited to
Denver.
see where you end up. There
Yeah.
we go. I'm excited to see where you end up
Yes.
there, and we can give our
Yes.
thoughts on that, and hopefully let
Yes.
the Denver audience know what
Right
good
on.
options there are around them.
Right on.
See
Like
what
it.
little food ice cream niche you find. But yeah, recap on that. It was good talking with you. I'm excited to see where next week goes. I'm coming closer and closer to our trip. Very excited. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, don't forget
Mm-hmm.
to start your relationship with God. And also, remember, live life to the fullest.
Amen. Right on, buddy. Peace out.